Hey everyone. I wasn't even planning doing a video, releasing another video, considering that we just did a BRAP rant about cloud gaming. But here we are. Do have some news to report. Sony PlayStation doing another remaster of a game that was recently released, Horizon Zero Dawn. So let's talk about it. Hey everyone, it's BRAP, and welcome back to BRAP, by the way. All right, so look, wow, like I said, I just did a BRAP rant on Sunday regarding cloud gaming. So if you haven't had a chance to, basically the title of that video was "Is Cloud Gaming Dead?" So if you haven't had an opportunity to check that out, please check out that video. Very insightful conversation with Hamp, aka Game Logic. It really just a great, insightful discussion as we discuss some of the fallout that we've seen as a result of Stadia, the plug being pulled on Stadia by Google. But let's get into this well, it's a rumor right now. It hasn't been officially collaborated just yet, but there is a rumor going out. As you can see here, VGC is reporting that a Horizon Zero Dawn remaster is in the works for PlayStation 5. Now, I got to be honest with you, I'm a little surprised here. I was kind of like, "Whoa, wait a minute!" Like we just had a Last of Us remake, Last of Us Part One remake, and that game I didn't really have an issue with the remake there. One, because I'm a huge fan of The Last of Us, one of my favorite games of all time, and there was a significant time frame between the remaster of the PlayStation 4 version of that game, and then the remake. About 7 years, I believe it was about 7 years between the remake and the remaster. And here we are with Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, I guess my question is, and please let me know in the comment section below, but I guess is there a timetable where these things are acceptable? I'm kind of wondering because I've seen a lot of the initial kind of knee jerk reactions to this rumor that's going around right now. It's being reported by multiple media sites. Um, is there a time period where these things are acceptable? I'm wondering, and I'll let you know what my opinion is here shortly. But I'm just wondering. So let me know in the comment section below if you think there's a because this game in particular released in 2017. So let's just say a remaster was to come out in 2023. That would put it about 6 years since its release on the PlayStation 4. Is 6 years too short of a time frame between the initial release and a remaster or remake? Let me know. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll give you my opinion here shortly as well. But here we go. So VGC again, Horizon Zero Dawn remasters in the works for PS5. It's claimed. Sources claim an update of the 2017 game is in development, along with a multiplayer spin-off. So the Guerrillas wanted to incorporate co-op and multiplayer for some time, and those were things that were put kind of on the back burner. Um, so this is a report again that was reported by MP First, which VG saying can corroborate via our own sources. They're saying that the updated version of 2017's of Horizon Forbidden West, was released in 2017, will feature improved visuals to bring it up to par with this year's sequel, which was Horizon Forbidden West, which if you haven't played that, it's a really good game. I actually like the sequel much more than Horizon Zero Dawn. Just felt a little more alive than Zero Dawn. And I just felt like it was just a better game. But So this is gonna bring it up to par, apparently, with the visuals of Horizon Forbidden West, which looks really good, in the form of new character models, lighting, and animations. Now, they did release a PC version of this game that came out in 2020, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and I think it does state this in the article, that the PC version didn't have, pretty much used the same assets from the PlayStation 4, and just really, bumped up, res and frames per second, and really didn't, introduce any new character models, lighting, animations, things like that. So, this is what the rumors claiming, that this game will have, some of those, updated features. So, in addition, it's claimed, the new version of Zero Dawn will add accessibility, features, graphics modes, and quality of life improvements to the gameplay itself. So, those are the, additional things that will presumably, if this is true, will be part of this game. So, VGC has asked SAE for a comment on the story. I don't think we'll get any kind of commentary, from VGC, from Sony Interactive Entertainment on this. So, um, now, as I mentioned earlier, The Last of Us Part 1 remake happened. Remasters aren't necessarily a new thing for Sony. Spider-Man had a remaster, Ghost of Tsushima, Uncharted 4, The Last of Us. Sony is getting into that kind of Nintendo-ish type mode, or doing things, bringing back, franchises, beloved franchises that are very popular, and doing a remaster. So I think that, if this is true, um, you know, I would imagine, if this is true, this is a game that is probably geared for people who've never played Horizon Zero Dawn, and/or people that just wanna go ahead and play the PlayStation 5 version of this game. So, which I'm not one of those individuals. I just don't have any interest in going back, and playing, the game. So, now VGC is also reporting that, they understand that the studio has long intended to expand the Horizon series into, the multiplayer space. Sources had previously, um I'm sorry, let me go back to this. In addition, the report claims that Guerrilla Games is currently working on a Horizon multiplayer game for PS5 and PC. Now, this is something that VGC reported last year. Um, so I don't know if this, multiplayer game is going to be tied in maybe with this remaster release. Although I would imagine that a multiplayer game, and we heard some rumors that some of the, live services games that Sony's going to release are going to be games that will also be available, day and date in their, PlayStation Plus subscription service. But we'll see. So, yeah, so they're working on this, multiplayer, game mode for, the PS5 and PC for Horizon, and, VGC understands that the studio has long intended to expand the Horizon series into, the multiplayer space. Now, other sources have previously told them that, co-op was first planned for the original Horizon, but was ultimately scrapped so the development team could focus on other areas of the title. And There was also, a Zero Dawn concept art that leaked in 2014, that showed initial plans to have multiple players battle the game's huge mechanical beast, very similar to Capcom's, Monster Hunter games, and that game that Koei and EA are developing as well. It's kind of that co-op Monster, Hunter vein. I forget the name of that game, but, now sources have said that Sony has been, keen to include co-op in the game's sequel, Forbidden West, but Guerrilla decided to save the feature for a future project, which you believe would either be standalone, spin-off, or Horizon 3. Now, some people are speculating that, perhaps the, remaster of Horizon, Zero Dawn will include, co-op, but again, we'll see. Um, so this is, again, multiple media sites are reporting this. Again, I wanna place a lot of emphasis on the fact that this is a rumor. Nothing's been officially, collaborated just yet. Sony hasn't commented on this, neither has Guerrilla. So, again, we don't know, how true, this rumor is, but it's interesting. I mean, certainly interesting, to hear this come out, and, obviously interested in, the knee-jerk reactions that I'm seeing, and some of the anger I'm seeing on Twitter, which is kind of interesting. Um, People are saying, "Why is Sony doing this? This is a mistake. They're gonna charge us $70 again," and, the usual, commentary. But, look, it's fair if this isn't a game that you would be interested in. I don't have any issue with that. But, just in my opinion, I look if this is a game that in fact is in the works. It's not one that I'm interested in. I just don't want to go back and play Horizon Zero Dawn. I enjoyed it, but just not something I'm interested in playing right now, or going back to. To be honest with you, I don't wish to sink that many hours into a game that I've played already. Because I put quite a bit of hours in Zero Dawn. But look, if someone is excited about this, who's a fan of the series and wants to go back and play a remastered version with all the bells and whistles of the PlayStation 5, that's perfectly fine too. And I would imagine that this is also probably geared towards people that have never played this game as well. That's kind of the similar argument I made about the Last of Us remake. Sometimes we forget, I think, as gamers, that just because something isn't for us doesn't mean that it might not be for another consumer, or um, like with the Last of Us remake. Just because a lot of us have played it before, doesn't mean that that someone else wouldn't find enjoyment in, or that someone else wouldn't pay the $70. So the $70 thing's coming up again, that somebody wouldn't see value in paying $70. I wouldn't pay $70 for this. I just don't see the value in it. But again, I also don't want to go back and play this game either, because I played it already. I just don't want to sink as many hours I did through a second playthrough as I did through the first playthrough. But anyhow, but then it's interesting. Like, is it? So I asked the question earlier, and please again let me know in the comment section below what you think. Is there a time frame where you feel like this might be acceptable between a release of a game and then a remaster remake? Like, let's just say that this game comes out in 2023. That'd be 6 years since its release. For me, like, 6 years between a release, 5 years. I don't have an issue with it. Now, if it was a year, like if they released it like a year after if they, like, let's say they released Horizon Zero Dawn in 2017, they're like, oh, 2018, we're going to release the remaster. And I know they did that with The Last of Us, but The Last of Us launched at the end of a console generation, so I understand why they did that, and I was okay with that. But with Horizon Zero Dawn, let's say if they released in 2017 and they said, "Oh, we're doing a remaster in 2018," I'd be like, "Oh, wait a minute, come on!" Like, that just seems a little, um, like, I would have preferred probably to play the remaster version, especially if they're including new stuff. Um, and I probably wouldn't be too, as a consumer, I wouldn't be too happy about that, because there's a better version presumably a year later, and I wouldn't want to go back and spend that money again a year later. Although I don't know, maybe I would. One thing I've learned about being a consumer is that you never say never sometimes, because sometimes you may value something so much and you may say, oh, I don't want to buy that, and then when you see the product, the finished product, if you will, then you go back and say, yeah, FOMO kicks in, and then you're like, oh, I really want that. And then you open up your wallet. So I don't know. But anyhow, but I think a year would be egregious. But I don't know, 5, 6 years. I don't know. I don't think that's, I don't have an issue with it. But again, not a game that I would want to play. I don't think, I don't think that, um, I'm not angry about it. I've seen some people kind of voice their anger about this, which is kind of interesting, odd. But I will say this: if Sony's going to do a remaster of anything, as a gamer, I would want to see one remaster in particular. Sony, Bloodborne. I would prefer to see Bloodborne over Horizon Zero Dawn remaster. Please, PlayStation, give us Bloodborne. This is the one game that a lot of people in the Bloodborne fandom, if you will, have been asking for. Have been asking for. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't understand. There's a rumor of we talked about this a couple years on BRAP, that there was some kind of Bloodborne remake in the works, but we haven't heard anything. Like the Metal Gear Solid remake is apparently in the works. I haven't heard anything about that in years. But I did hear, prior to the launch of PlayStation 5, that Sony was going to actually do two things. They were going to focus on new content, which we've seen them do so far this generation, but they were also going to go back and do remaster remakes of some beloved franchises to kind of beef up the portfolio of content. This remake of the remake of The Last of Us Part 1 would would hint to that, and then as would, if this is true, Horizon Zero Dawn remaster. And I would say, don't be surprised to see other remasters or remakes of other beloved franchises. That's what we've heard prior to the PlayStation 5 launching, which is where the Bloodborne thing came from, and which is where Metal Gear Solid came from. Um, so it's going to be interesting to see what other, when Sony, if this is true, when Sony might announce this too, and if they're, and I'm wondering, like, I, I would imagine, at least in my opinion, I'm thinking that Sony's probably, and based on what we heard about what their focus is going to be this generation, um, you got to imagine there's other stuff in the pipeline that they're working on, but we'll see. We'll find out. We'll find out. So yeah. So this story, we'll see how the story develops. We'll keep an eye on it, and if there are any updates, we'll let you know here on BRAP. But we're going to talk a little bit about this more on Wednesday. Kind of get the rest of the panel's thoughts on this as well. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section, especially about my question in regards to if you think there's a certain time frame where it's okay to remaster a game. In this case, Horizon Zero Dawn, we're going 2023 is 2 months away, well 3 months away. Geez, that's crazy. We're 90 days away from 2023, a new year. Holy moly! Is 6 years? Is that okay? 5, 6 years? Is that okay, or does it need to be longer? Because that's the one thing I've seen. People are like, "Oh, why are they doing this? Like, they shouldn't be doing this, or it's not justified." I don't have that particular view of whether or not it's justified or not. My view is whether or not I'm interested or not. And if I'm not interested, I'm just not going to buy it. I don't think too much into whether or not Sony's justified or if this is something they should have done. It's not something that of interest to me, so I'm just not going to buy it. But let me know if you think that it makes sense for them to do it 6 years later, or if there's a time period where it makes more sense maybe to do a remake or a remaster, maybe something beyond 6 years, maybe 10 years, something like that. Let me know in the comment section below. But everyone, thank you for watching this video. Really appreciate the time. As always, please do me a favor, hit that like button. And if you're new, subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you're alerted when we go live. And as the story breaks and we get updates, we'll go ahead and update you on BRAP as well. So thank you, everyone, for watching this video. Appreciate it as always. We'll catch you next time.